Boudie Bus is an adventure natural boudoir experience. I like to call it an experience because it's so much more than a photo shoot. So I travel around the country working with women and non-binary individuals through empowering like self-love photography.
You can't say Dr. Mo ain't tell ya that fear magnifies the consequences of failure. What are you scared of? Why are you afraid? I'd rather live like I'm dying than live to die. Any day, my heart is pure, my soul is safe.
Sarah, welcome to Perpetual Motion.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh yeah, you and me both. We're talking about a booty bus. It just doesn't get any better than that on a Saturday morning.
I know, right? What a great way to wake up.
Absolutely. Let's get it off and popping. So, booty bus, what is it? What is that about?
Yeah, so I came up with this idea a little over a year ago, and the Boudie Bus is an adventure natural boudoir experience. I like to call it an experience because it's so much more than a photo shoot. So I travel around the country working with women and non-binary individuals through empowering like self-love photography. And boudoir, if your listeners don't know what boudoir is, like the traditional word is think of those like pinup shots, like very highly done makeup,
Mhm.
really extreme outfits and shoes and hair. And that type of boudoir has never spoken to me personally. And so I decided to create this separate experience that is all about coming to the camera as your authentic self. So you can choose to wear makeup if you'd like, but I invite you to come natural and just enjoy the process of falling in love with your body for exactly where you are right now.
Self-love photography. What a beautiful, beautiful thing, because you're right. So often, I think we're kind of trained with that from, childhood, the little
Oh,
school
yeah.
pictures, and it's all about the show and sending it off to people and putting it up on the wall and the grandma get it. And to do it just to, dwell on ourselves and think about it. I don't want to say dwell, but to do anything for ourselves, honestly, as women, and the
Yeah.
nurturing and the caring, and it doesn't just have to be women, but so many of us are givers and don't really we appreciate everyone but ourselves. So I respect your mission a lot. You mentioned boudoir photography, and I meant to Google this and I forgot, but was it always, because I think of boudoir as, and I might be mispronouncing it, that's not my second language, mine is
You're
Spanish.
doing great. No,
I'm doing
you're doing
okay. I'm
great.
doing all right. I'm
Yeah.
doing all right. Check. Doing all right. Doing all right. I always thought of it as, I heard it used two ways in regards to that photography, but also as kind of an area or a space that was, this is my boudoir. So is there actually, did the photography come from that
Yeah, so I think
word?
boudoir,
You know
like,
what I'm trying to ask?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I think like the meaning of boudoir, I don't know like the exact definition, but a boudoir is like that bedroom, like
Right,
that's
right.
kind of what it, yeah. So like bedroom photography. And again, like the traditional word of boudoir, like a lot of people are like, have come to the camera before to do this for a partner. They're like, well, I want to do this. And that's perfectly fine. You get to do
Mhm.
boudoir for whatever you want. But like you were talking about, women don't do enough for themselves. And so
Right.
I challenge them to do this more for themselves rather than a partner. And it's actually pretty easy. I don't even have to challenge them because most of the women, I would say like 98% of the shoots that I've done, when
Mhm.
I ask them why they're coming to me, why they're here, they're like, especially with COVID, I really just haven't loved my body over the past few years. I've gained some weight, or I've kind of lost myself in this time when we were like separated from each other. And so this is really a time for I try to hold that space for them to come into a safe space that is non-judgmental, where they can just be themselves. There's absolutely no pressure to wear a certain sexy outfit. There's no pressure. It's just a really inviting experience, just trying to get them to fall in love with themselves on a deeper level, like a more spiritual level, and understand that photography isn't about, especially this type of photo session, this isn't about capturing your outer beauty. This is really
Mhm.
about like trying to have your soul come through the photographs.
Oh my goodness, that there's so much there that is so important. I just looked up boudoir, and it's a woman's bedroom or private room. So, in the olden days, back in caveman times when I was born, I think this kind of I think that's kind of the way we used it. So my son,
Yes, yes.
when he first mentioned it to me, I was a little bit confused because he very much associated with just that type of photography. So now I've kind of got an idea that it emerged from that. But again, it doesn't have to be. I've seen your gallery or portfolio. It's beautiful. So it
Thank
doesn't, for
you.
those of you who are new to this, kind of like me, it doesn't have to be in a bedroom or private room, but it's a style
Yeah.
that you described. And
Yeah.
so you've touched on this already, but we are really getting more into, thank goodness, finally, self-care and self-love. For you, why is that important? And I know you focus on women particularly, and we're going to talk about
Yeah.
that as well. But why is that self-love and seeing the beauty on the inside of you important?
You know what? So I think that this is going to be a little bit selfish of me, but I have really struggled with this my entire life. I turned to this in a way to, I think, help myself understand why I struggle with this so much. I've struggled with eating disorders and body dysmorphia, and I've always been very hard on myself, whether that's with my career or my body image or how I look. And so I would say that the process really started like maybe a year and a half ago to 2 years ago. I started to separate out my self-worth from how I looked on the outside, my physical attractiveness. And I tell you what, the amount of pressure and relief and realization that like I am worth so much more than who I see in the mirror. Like I am so far beyond just a number on the scale or how much weight I can push at the gym. And I think that that whole process of separating out my self-worth from my attractiveness all of a sudden gave me this freedom to really become who I wanted to be because I stopped focusing so much on what I looked like. And for a long part of my like young adult life, like I was
Mhm.
obsessed with like I got my hair done, my nails done, my eyelashes done, my
Right.
eyebrows done. Nothing again, I just want to reiterate there's nothing wrong with that. But I was putting all this time into things that like I felt like were making me feel better, like what a lot of people would consider self-care. And I still do
Mhm.
get my nails done and I still do little things like
But for
that.
different reasons. I
Yes,
think,
for
right.
different reasons, for different
That's it.
reasons. But for a long time it felt like a chore. Like I would spend like an hour and a half doing my makeup and hair every day. And it just was like everything was such a chore because I felt like I had to. And once I kind of released that and allowed myself to just be who I am and stop focusing so much on what I looked like and just started turning inward. And for me, that meant I really had to look at myself and see like what legacy do you want to leave behind? Because when you die, I mean, I won't say for no one, people don't remember what you look like. They remember how you treated people and how you
Mm.
acted. And so I decided that I wanted to learn how to love people better and I wanted to make small differences in people's lives just by being like as positive as possible. So one of the things that I really focus on is not trying to change the world. I'm not trying to like make a huge shift. What I'm trying to do is like make small micro adjustments in women's lives to just help them see themselves in a better light. So like small positive aspects, not like I don't look at the big picture. I just each day I'm like, okay, what can you do today to make one person's life a little bit more positive or a little bit better?
Hello, hello. You just, yeah, all in my tea here. I feel the same way. Yeah, 1 million followers is great, but are you really reaching anybody? Are you impacting anybody? If you can to that one person and it's the
Yeah.
right person and it ripples not only throughout them but for generations. If that right person is Gandhi or Martin Luther King or Hillary for that matter. That might upset some people, but I'm just thinking about people who have really, really changed lives and influenced people. And you know that there was somebody who influenced them. They didn't just
Yeah.
come here like that. Something
Yeah.
happened. Barbara Jordan, one of my favorite people. People don't think about what it took for them to become the person they are. And you are helping people become the person they're supposed to be and look at themselves that way. Now, you did allude to having body dysmorphia, and I want to just clarify on that because I know that is like a deformity or abnormality, and not trying to get into
So
your business, but what do you mean by it?
So body dysmorphia, for me at least, the way that I'm referring to it as is within the eating disorder
Okay,
sector.
okay.
So I'm really not able to accept what I'm seeing in the mirror. And there's the song that I always go back to is that Halsey song when she's like, I pinch some skin in between my two fingers and wish I could cut it off with some scissors. And that
Mhm.
song has spoken to me ever since
Hmm.
it's come out because every time, and one of the things about my bus, I don't have any mirrors in the bus. The only mirrors I have are the ones that are attached to the bus, like the rear view mirror and my side mirrors. But I have no other mirrors in my bus because I found that it is so damaging to myself because every time I look in a mirror, I'm constantly putting out my flaws. So even though I speak this big game of self-love, I still struggle with it daily.
Oh,
Like
sure.
it's
It's a
still, I'm still a
process.
work in progress. Yeah. And like, I completely recognize that. And honestly, this journey of doing the boudoir photography and helping women and non-binary individuals come to the camera and love themselves authentically helps them just as much as it helps me. Like it really has been eye-opening and the way that I speak to other people and the way that I view other people as being such beautiful individuals and humans, not just for their outward
Mhm.
appearance. Sometimes I'm like, Sarah, you need to like talk to yourself the same way that you talk to your clients.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
have convicted myself
Yeah.
many times when I was coaching people. I'm like, oh, I need to work on that. Note to self. But it's so easy
Yeah.
to preach it, but to live it can be a different thing. Or just to remind yourself when you get
It's yes.
right
Yes.
when you get off course because we're so busy and we, despite good intentions, end up putting ourselves on the back burner. And you're reminding women to
Oh yeah.
put their oxygen mask on first to coin a phrase. I'm glad you said that about the body
I like
dysmorphia.
that. I like that.
I like that because one of my goals with this, every episode, I want people to go away with a new idea, a new strategy, a new tip, something that will elevate their life, elevate their business, some new information or a reminder. And I really relate to that body dysmorphia because I don't know if I share with you or not, but I have a rare form of cancer and my stomach was removed. And I went down 4 sizes in clothing, lost a lot of weight in a very short period of time. I just could not eat. I had to learn to eat again, like people learn to walk again.
Yeah.
And Sarah, before I did not understand people with anorexia and other types of issues. I'm like, how can you look in the mirror and think that you are large? It wasn't a judgment. It was just a
Yeah. Yeah.
curiosity, not being able to do it. But it was probably 4 years before I could accept. I kept all my clothes. The tailor told me we can't shrink these anymore. And I kept my clothes. I don't think I've even talked about this before, but I had quite a wardrobe because I speak a lot and do different things. I just kept them, and every few months I would try something on because I thought I can wear it now. Just, I don't know where that came from, but I just felt like, and then I would be literally surprised and disappointed that the clothes were just falling off of me because in the mirror
Yeah.
I saw the person of the size that I was. And the only time I would recognize that I was then a two, I've worked my way up to a four after 10 years, but I was then a two, was when I was standing next to other people in photos. And then it was just so very obvious that you're
Yeah.
gonna 18 again and you're, probably not gonna ever be.
Yeah.
But that was, and I was in my 50s. And then I understood, okay, these people see something totally different. I see something totally different than other people see.
Yeah.
And my best friend finally came and I was like, okay, I'm going to leave the house. When I come back, please just have taken all this stuff away, because I emotionally could not do it, could not let
Yeah.
go of that part of me. And
Yeah.
now I'm good. I got little clothes to go with me and I'm rocking them. It took a minute.
Yeah, I think that body dysmorphia, honestly, I mean, I can't speak to like to history on it, but I think that so much of that comes from like social media because we have all these filters now. So like it's so easy to distort your body so quickly if you're not happy with the piece
Right.
of it. And that's so damaging because like we should be conditioned to love ourselves for who we are.
Exactly.
However, we are doing so far the reverse of that. We are like throwing on 30-second filter after 30-second filter. And like I know I try really hard to not filter my own videos at
Mhm.
all. Like every now and then I'm like, man, I've got some bad acne. I just want to throw a blur on there. But I try
Right.
not to, like, even though I get embarrassed because I'm like, what if people like because of my acne, what if people don't think I'm taking care of myself? Like all these little things, you know?
Yeah, that internal dialogue is wicked.
Yes.
But I'm gonna just say for me though, and I like this that so many of my guests are younger than I am and bring other perspectives to it. That wasn't the thing with me. It was
Yeah, yeah.
psychological and emotional. I could care less about filters, and people do it for me, but I don't. I will go on just like I look. I could care less about that. So I'm not saying I don't see it, and I think a lot of people overdo it with the eyes and the hair and all of that. You know, that Build a Barbie song. I'm like, that's too much. You're doing too much.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
For
yeah.
me, it was really on a psychological level. I mean, I had to get some
Yeah.
counseling. I had to get some help about it. Not because of social media. I just could not let go of that person that I was. And I'm sure that the health, I know that the health part of that too, because that was such a transition for me.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that to say, and it's not even a generational thing, but there are so many different things that are
Oh,
impacting the
100%.
way we see ourselves. And
Oh, yeah.
as usual, I have hijacked your conversations.
Oh, no, no, no. Please keep going, please.
I think I like the dialogue. I like going back and forth, and I just feel like I'm talking to a friend. As my
I know.
listeners
I'm very
knows.
relaxed right now. I'm very relaxed. This is only my third podcast and I still get kind of nervous.
What?
So,
What?
yeah.
You are a freaking pro, and I wish we had done video, guys, because I'll have her on the clip art, and you hear her talking about body dysmorphia and filters and stuff, but she looks like she's getting ready to go on the runway. Anna Wintour would be calling, going, "Hey, I got a contract for you." So, and that's really the way it is, that we don't always see that, and you're helping again with your Boudie Bus photography. You're helping people see that. So what is your background? We've talked about you being a photographer and what
Yeah.
you're doing. How did you come to this?
Okay, so I'm going to give you a really quick short story because it
No,
it
give me a long story.
okay, fine. I'll give you a long story. So you would think from my upbringing that I would have just kind of become a photographer. My father's a photographer.
Mhm.
So I've always been around photography. However, it was never an interest of mine until I got into high school and had a near-death experience. So I marched in marching band. I played saxophone, and I was running back to my spot in marching band. I was in a very competitive marching band. So if you the group, the section that got back to their spot first got an extra 30 seconds of a water break. So we're
Oh,
all like,
goodness.
I know. They do not do that anymore. They don't do that anymore after this.
It sounds like a
But
Nazi camp or something. That's crazy.
listen, we placed high. We were a good
I bet
marching
you
band.
were good.
Yes, they definitely instilled a lot of discipline in us. When people are like, marching band's not athletic, I'm like,
Oh,
you
yes,
didn't
it
go to my
is.
high school. Yes, it is.
Cheerleading, all of that.
Um,
Yes, ma'am.
exactly. And yeah, so I was running back to my spot and fell on my saxophone and cut my spleen in half. Yeah.
Put your spleen
So
in
yeah,
half.
I cut
Is
my
that what
spleen
you
in half.
said?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
deep. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. 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 It was bad. So I was no longer allowed to march. I had to take the season off, and I mean I was pretty ill for about a month after that. It really took me a long recover time. I lost half my blood flow. Um, And it was just really traumatic. So I still wanted to go to band practice because like marching band's kind of like a cult. I'm sure some people will understand that and get that, but other people might take offense. But it is like once you're in, you're in. And it's really hard. Like you spend all your time with these people. You're at band practice from 12, like for 12-hour days. And so I didn't want to lose my friendships. And they're really like, I didn't have any other friends that weren't in band. So I wanted to still be around my band family. So I would go to practices, and instead of marching, I would take photos. And like the very
Smart.
first 2 photos I took, huh?
I said smart. Smart. You were still engaged. You weren't just watching and feeling bad. You were still engaged.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so I started photographing, and the band loved it. And then I started photographing the football players and the cheerleaders, and I just became known as like the school photographer. So which is awesome. So I literally fell into photography. That's
like that.
Here's the best part though. Here's the best part. So my marching band, the way that we would like make money like for fundraisers is we'd make these buttons, and we made a button that had a saxophone with an X going through it, and it said practice safe sax.
Safe sax. I love
which I just thought was really cute. Practice safe sax. So then I went to college for photography and graphic design and graduated, and then it took me a few years to start my own business. So I started my business about 8 years ago. And that was primarily like really, for especially in the DC area, I started doing commercial work. So I started with like family portraits and a few things like that, but I really fell into doing a ton of commercial work. And what that looks like is a lot of editing because these are going into publications. Yeah, I just have a great personality.
You do.
I'm just kidding.
You really do.
Yeah. No, but yeah, so I became an editorial photographer, and what that looks like is a lot of publications, a lot of magazines, and people, because these are going to print like, 25,000 magazines, people want to look perfect. And so I fell into what I never wanted to do, which was editing and retouching people's bodies. And I became known as the Photoshop queen. Like I can Photoshop anything. And I love a good challenge. So I have done some Photoshop that I'm very proud
when
of.
you do something,
Oh yeah. I don't half-ass anything.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I really like took this title and I wore it with like the opposite, wearing it as a badge of pride. I like wanted to hide it. Like I didn't want anyone knowing that this is what I was good at because I was so embarrassed about it. But that's what I became known as. And so I finally, like ethically and morally, what happened is I was like, I need to walk away from this. I'm depressed. I don't like what I'm doing. I feel like I'm adding to the problem. However, I was making a good bit of money in DC doing this. Okay. And then COVID happened and it wrecked my business. And all of a sudden I realized I could live off of a lot less. And I'm like, wait a second. I could give up that work if I wanted to and live off of a lot less and figure out what I'm supposed to do now. So that brings me to today. So I still do a lot of publications. I still do a lot of editorial work, but I've actually been able to bring my influence into that sector. And so when I work with people for these shoots, I do very minimal editing. And there are times that I have to retouch more because my client is the magazine. Right. And so if the client comes back and tells the magazine, like, I really need this edited, my hands are tied. I have to edit it. However, I have made really large strides in being able to edit less and retouch less and help affect that whole system. Not as much as I'd like to, still working on that, but
you're trying to overcome
doing the
centuries of tradition, particularly in photography. So any strides you're making are significant. Yeah. I didn't even know anybody was trying, because when I look at the magazines that I get, it's, it's like, I know this 14-year-old or 15-year-old does not look like this. Yeah. Or I've seen this actress, I just saw her in a movie, I know she doesn't look like this, but And it worries
Yeah.
me for the same reason it
Yeah. I mean,
worries you.
nothing you see nothing you see is real. That's the biggest, like, and I know
And
that. And the fact that
that's
I
the
still have
message.
body issues and I know what goes into retouching, like, I don't, it's insane. So kind of the way that I look at my business now is I have two different sides. I still have my editorial, I still have my publication,
Mhm.
I still have my stuff that I need to retouch for. But in doing that, that pays me enough that I can now give back to the type of work that I'm passionate about, which is my boudoir photography. And
Mhm.
all of my boudoir shoots that are on the road, they're all pay what you can. So
Wow.
it's accessible to anyone. There is absolutely no minimum. I do tell my clients, I tell them they are not, I have a few rules. My biggest rule is you cannot tell me how much you're paying me prior to the shoot, and I accept no money prior to the shoot. And normally I don't accept payment until they get the photos, but a lot of people I know personally, like I would be the same way. I like to pay for a service once it's done. Like I want to give you money after the photo shoot, like you've done your job, you've done the photo shoot, let me
Right.
pay you. So I don't accept any payment prior to the shoot. I don't allow them to tell me how much they're paying me because I want every shoot to be the exact same. They're all 45 minutes. I want every single person to feel like someone who's paying $50 or someone who's paying $500. I don't want them to ever feel like I'm not giving them my best self.
So
And
it's not
even
it's not
though
for
as
you. It's not for you so that you know, it's not that you're gonna feel some kind of way. You're doing it for them so that they don't feel like that's impacting you. That's what you're saying.
I think it's both. As much as I'd love to say that I have a big enough heart to not treat a shoot differently, I think that deep down, like if I knew I was getting paid less, as much as I work against changing anything, like I feel like it
Understood.
would affect my work.
Okay.
So, yeah, yeah. And I'm
That's
very, yeah,
good.
I'm self-aware. Like I still am a businesswoman. So in order for me to make sure all the shoots are equal, and they truly are pay what you can, and every single woman and non-binary individual gets the same Sarah Marcella, I make sure that I don't know how much I'm getting paid. And
So it's
so
blind.
far it's worked out really well.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
But
good.
to to go back to the editorial stuff. So I still do that so that I can pay for like my healthcare
Mhm.
and
Hello.
like my monthly bills, that because pay what you can. Yeah, because pay what you can obviously doesn't necessarily like doesn't lead to support my my monthly
Mhm.
bills. Like I don't
Mhm.
know how much I'm making every month. So I still keep those other shoots and I'm able to I save up a lot of money and then I go on the road and I do the shoots that I care about. So that's like I'm still trying to make strides in the editorial
Right.
world and do less retouching, but I still do. I want to be completely honest and transparent. I still retouch from time to time, but whenever it comes to my boudoir sessions, the only retouching that I will do is if it's temporary, so a pimple or a bruise. If it's temporary, I will retouch it.
Okay.
But if it's something that's on your body permanently, scars, stretch marks, anything like that, it will not get retouched.
And scars are part of the story of my life. I mean, I've got a huge one going down my abdomen. I've got, where I fell, where my cousin pushed me, and it's part of my
Yeah.
memory, part of the gallery of my life. And I'm going to edit you real time here. I know when we're talking live, sometimes we just say things, but you said I still do my commercial stuff and then I go do the things that I care about. So just in case those commercial people are listening, I think I'm the same way. I have my personal passionate stuff that I'm
Oh,
passionate about, but I know you care about your day job too. That what's
yes.
going on, what's going on there. So
Trust me, my commercial clients, yeah, they know I have a very, very, very good relationship with my commercial clients and they
cool,
know
cool.
I bend over backwards for them and they do the same for me. So I'm not really worried. I know my commercial clients and I'm very, very open about how uncomfortable retouching makes me. So
Yeah.
they already know my whole story. And honestly, my biggest commercial client, is constantly trying to book me extra shoots and pay me more than anytime they have extra money coming in through the magazine for a shoot, they send it
They
straight to
call
me
you.
because they're like, yes, because they know, one, that I take my work very seriously. They know that I'm passionate, and they know that whoever shows up in front of the camera, no matter who they are, one of the things that I do before every photo shoot is I sit down with the client for about 5 minutes and I ask them to either describe themselves in 3 words or what they'd like to portray in their photograph. So it's really important for me to have those 3 words so that I know um, how, like, it takes away from just being a headshot. It takes away from
Yeah.
just this being like your outer self again. And I'm like, all right, how do you want people? This is going into this magazine. If someone's going to look at your photo for 5 seconds, what are 3 words? Like, what do you want to come across? And so I take that time with all of my clients, including my boudoir clients. And so my commercial clients know, they know I care.
I get
Even
it
though
too.
they
And
just, yeah. Yeah.
I get it as well. My day job and the things I do as a creative, and there's a creative element in dentistry, but they're like night and day. But I was born a writer. I was born a communicator. I became the other things. And when we're
Yeah.
doing what we were born to do, or what we've traveled down this road and gotten to that place, it's very exciting. And I don't understand businesses that are like, I've had, friends who have had, HR or the managers or whomever come to them and say, we feel like you're not focused on, and that's just something I want to throw in here additionally. And I love that you have a supportive employer, because they'll come to them and like, you're not really focused, you're not devoted to the company. Like, they want you to do that, in your sleep, 100 hours a week. And giving people the opportunity to explore other avenues, have multiple streams of happiness, not just multiple streams of income, but multiple streams of happiness. Work can be draining, but when you're doing that other thing, whether it's fishing or bowling or photography from your Boudie Bus, that thing is pouring into you, and they don't get that part because they are work people. But I need the other stuff so that I can be good for you when I'm doing the thing I do for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I think everyone has seen like a huge shift in my personality too. I'm just a much happier person now. Because I am doing something that I'm so passionate about. Yeah. I think that it really, like, I'm able to come to every shoot as my authentic self as a photographer and not feel like I'm selling out anymore, like, because I and I think I mentioned this before to you, but um some of my friends were asking, like, so what about your clients here? Do you do any pay what you can for like your headshots, or like have you adjusted those prices? And I'm like, absolutely not. I've actually gone the other way. I'm very strict on my prices because now, in order for me to supply my business with enough income for me to do the pay what you can, I have to be strict on my commercial clients.
Right.
And my friend Jessie was like, huh, you're like the Robin Hood of photography. And I was like, oh, thanks, Jessie.
I was thinking that with your business model, I was getting ready to say that's kind of disruptive, especially for quality photography. Yeah, you can get somebody who just picked up a camera and just decided they're going to do this because they need an extra gig. But what you're doing, and I'm sure you're not overcharging, you're just insisting on getting your worth.
Oh yeah.
Bartering, and okay, I'll give you a discount and stuff. So good for you. The Robin Hood of photography. That needs to be your tagline some kind of way. I don't know how you
I feel like it's a little boastful. So I don't know if I'm gonna do that. But it has really it's made me very appreciative, and it's made me like understand and respect money more. And for a really long time I have let some clients not pay me what I deserve, because if they're questioning it, then I start to question it myself, and I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't be getting paid this much. Like, maybe they're right. Maybe I am too expensive. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, no, Sarah, you have invested thousands and thousands of dollars into this. You have a degree in this. Someone isn't going to go to, I can't think of an occupation, but artists are so questioned because it's so
Yes.
subjective, like it's not like you're going and getting a blood test done and
Right.
like, it's, you know what I mean? It's so
And the
subjective.
hours, people, they don't value the time. Like you said,
Yeah,
thousands of
no,
thousands of hours,
thousands.
learning the
Yes.
craft, spending time with other professionals so that you get
Yeah.
better at it, getting all that feedback and adjusting so that you can be better. All of that has value. And I think women, from what I understand from statistics and the billions of articles that I read, we're a lot worse about that. That am I
Oh,
an imposter, questioning myself, should
yeah.
I ask for this? And then we're perceived as demanding when we just want fair.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
be fair.
100%. 100%.
I hate that. That bothers me. I get that as a speaker. Well, they're going to be, what you just donate, they're going to be a lot of important people here. I'm like, I'm important. I'm a professional. And
Yes.
I don't know, I did that when I was younger. Oh, this may lead to something. No, I need to be paid for right now. And if it leads to something, that's great too. But I am no longer giving away my professional services, my intellectual property. I've earned the right to be paid. And I remember the one when I put my foot down a few minutes ago, I was the only female speaking. And then I found out that all the men had been paid their fee and they had asked me to speak for free for the exposure. Girl. Luckily, I found that out.
If your listeners could see my face right now, your listeners could see my face. I just had to pick my jaw up off the ground. And the thing is I shouldn't even be surprised because that's true. It's so true. We are just not taken as seriously as women. And like, I think that people see us as like nurturing and it's like, well, why won't you donate? And I will donate my time to certain causes. I've got certain charities that I've been working with. Oh, yes. Yeah. I have certain ones that I've been working with for years and I am more than happy to shoot for them for free. But then like, also like no one should ever just come to you and expect it, right? Like, or expect a discount. And I'm like, exposure does not pay my bills. You know what pays my bills is cash money, honey.
Cash money, just like you and everybody else. Girl, I was crushed. It took me a minute. I gave a hell of a speech, got a standing ovation, and then I found that out afterwards as we were kind of mixing and mingling. But it hasn't happened again. Trust me.
Good.
It was lesson learned.
Good. Yes.
It was lesson learned. So anyway, we're just going down all kind of little side avenues. I'm loving this. I am loving this. Now, you said everyone can see how much happier you are. You're definitely glowing. You got a lot of energy, but you've got someone in particular who can see how much happier you are. Even though you're on that bus by yourself, do you mind sharing a little bit about your personal life? You shared that with me.
Yeah. Earlier. So are you talking about my partner?
Yes.
Yeah. So my fiance is
congratulations. I didn't realize you guys were engaged.
Yeah.
Woo, blank.
I know.
Wait. I need to get my shades.
I know.
Bright.
Yeah, so my fiance and I, we've been together.
Sling. How do you even hold your hand up? My goodness. I'm so tired.
I know. She proposed to me in the most incredible way too. So obviously I prefer to wear limited clothing. I love being nude.
Clothing optional.
I love being nude. Exactly. And yeah, she proposed to me in Steamboat Springs at a clothing optional hot spring, and I was butt ass naked, and there was a full moon, and she's like, she knew it was the right time to propose. She's like, I knew you would love to be naked when I proposed in public, and I was like, done. Yes, absolutely. You know me so well. But yeah, no,
I'm yours for life.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, so my partner, she does not have the type of occupation that she can go on the road with me. So this is completely a solo journey. And so she's in the Marine Corps and she's been deployed for the past few months. And so while she's been deployed, we got rid of our apartment and I've got our 2 pit bulls and I've been traveling the country with our 2 pit bulls and doing my thing. But she has seen a huge change in me over the past few years. So when I met her in October of 2017. And in June of 2017, I actually was going through a divorce. I was married to a man, with him for 10 years, married
Mhm.
for 5 together. I married my high school sweetheart. And finally, I couldn't do it anymore. And so it was the right decision for both of us.
Mhm.
And I met Morgan a few months later. Thank God for Tinder. It was just supposed to, yeah, Tinder, man. I tell you what, she showed up to our date, and I fell off my chair. I was like,
So first,
oh,
it was instant,
oh
instant
yeah, it was
attraction.
instant. Like she walked in, and I was, yeah, I was struck. I was struck. So
And
she's
it's
really
always nice
seen,
too when the conversation, because I'm single as well. I've had that happen, but then the conversation just dampens everything that I felt initially. But when the conversation complements it, and you're like,
yes.
"Oh, you
Well,
are."
she's super, super, super mysterious. She doesn't overshare.
Oh,
It takes her a really long time. So our relationship has really been, we have a very working relationship. Like we have to work hard because we are so different.
wait.
Um,
No, Sarah, we all do. We all
I know
have
that's
to
very
work
true.
hard,
That's very
even if
true.
we're not different.
Yes.
It's
That no,
work.
that's very
It's
true.
work.
That's very true. But she is very stoic. She does not love quickly. It takes her a long time, but once she does love, she is like, she is incredibly loyal. She gives you her whole heart, but it takes time to like get to know her. Like about a year and a half in, I told her, I was like, I feel like I still only know like 30% of you. And she's like, you do. You've only known me a year and a half. Like you still have my whole life, like my whole backstory to learn. And I'm like, I'm the type of person that by week number 3, I'm like, and here's my social security number, and this is where I was born, and here's my birth chart.
We are oversharers, yeah. And then in kindergarten, and the guy was sitting behind me, just yeah, I'm just vomiting up my life, and
Yes.
but I understand, and other
Yeah,
people are like, and they listen, they take it in, and it
I
takes a
know.
while to
And
realize,
she's
wait,
so,
you haven't
yes.
told me anything.
But it's so, and we have such a balanced relationship
Mhm.
because of it. And it's just this beautiful partnership. Like it really is a beautiful partnership, and we just care about each other so much. I feel like it's so much deeper than like romantic. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but we've been
I
through so
understand you.
much together. Yeah. We've been through so much together. And so she's really seen me grow into the woman I am. She met me when I was like a baby gay and like just came out and like didn't really know. I was like I was still like learning how to walk as a gay person,
Understood.
just like baby steps. And now she's seen me grow into this like confident woman. And like she, we have these conversations a lot. And one of the things that we've talked about is didn't really understand why I did pay what you can. She feels like I'm undervaluing myself
Mm.
until she listened to the first podcast I was on. And I guess I just had never correctly articulated to her why this is so important to me. And so after the first podcast, which I did talk about her a little bit, so I was like, "What was your favorite part?" And I thought for sure she was going to say something about her, and she's like, my favorite part was pay what you can." And this is
But
something that we've
she
always
already knew how much
disagreed.
you loved her, so
Yes, I
yeah,
know, yeah, but this
yeah.
is something we've always disagreed on: is the pay what you can. She's like, "I
Uh-huh.
finally understand. I finally understand why you do this,"
Flip the switch.
and that was huge. That was huge because I had never heard her say that before. And a
Yeah.
lot of people, I think, do think that I'm undervaluing myself. And like, I think other photographers too kind of see me as like possibly detrimental to photography because I am a professional published photographer. I
Mhm.
do have a very good following, but I'm not do like I this is something different for me. This is not like I know what I'm worth, and I know what I get paid
Mhm.
when it's not a passion project. But this is something that is so like innate in my soul. I just feel like every single woman should have the experience because boudoir is so healing. It's like so transformative. I think that's the best word for it. It's so transformative, and it's only in 45 minutes, but every single woman I've worked with is like, they come back and they're like, I love myself so much, like on such a deeper level. I had no idea I was that beautiful. I had one woman who was convinced I edited her photo. She's like, you had to have retouched me. I'm like, no, like I
She
will
had
show
never
you.
seen herself the
No.
way
And I'm like,
other
no, no, no,
people
no,
do.
no. Yes. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I have not retouched your photo. And she did not believe me, did not. And finally, I was like, listen, I'm going to show you the original so that you know I didn't touch anything.
Yes.
Like
Wow.
when I say no editing, I do edit like lighting and colors
Sure,
because
sure.
I personally like
The
it to be like a
balance.
little moody. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like so sometimes like I don't like my greens to be as green as they are. I like
Mhm.
to take a little bit of that yellow out. It makes the skin look a little bit warmer. So
Mhm.
like I do that type of editing, but I don't do retouching. So anyways, getting back to my incredible partner.
Yes.
I could talk about her for hours. But yeah, so she's definitely seen me go through this whole process and been there as a very supportive partner. And it's amazing that she has because I was a total I was not at a place to have a relationship when I bought the bus. I
Mhm.
poured everything in my soul into building this bus. I poured everything into my soul into getting this business up and running. And because of that, I was not the partner that she needed at that time. And thank God she stuck through it. We really we had to do a lot of like work whenever I finally finished, and we finally like had some really difficult conversations.
So
And
you had
it
to get some
again,
balance in there with your time and stuff. Because I'm a very
oh
passionate
yeah,
person too. And when I get into a project, I mean, it's like Mo, you need to go to sleep.
oh
Stop.
I have ADHD. I have
Yeah.
ADHD, and my entire natal chart is like Capricorn. Like I'm a Pisces, but I have a ton of Capricorn. So I am full send. I can't half ass anything. I can't. Like everything, it's like my entire heart's in it, or I
But
am not interested
you
at
know
all.
what though? That's a spirit of excellence. Somebody told me that recently because I've gotten,
I like that.
you get criticized about it, but yet people like the results. They like, being a part of what you're doing. They want to know about it. But then what about me? And the thing is, you get these results, whether it's in the relationship, in your photography, or wherever, because you're committed and passionate and 100%. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think there are too many people just slacking and being content with mediocrity. And there's
I
something
think if you're,
between.
yeah, I think if you're self-aware about it, because I think it
Yes.
can be damaging to relationships around you. So like, I know that personally, I have done a lot of like inner work and like
Mhm.
have realized balance. One of the things that I know is really important to Morgan is when we sit down at the end of the day, I used to edit photos while
Oh
we'd watch
no,
TV.
no.
Oh
Technology
yeah.
off.
Oh
Everything
yeah.
off.
Well, so we'd like watch our TV show together and I'd be like, or we'd watch a movie together and I'd be like, do you mind if I just edit some photos? Cause like I am such a multitasker.
Mhm.
I can't just like sit and watch a show. I'm like, oh my God, what am I
So
supposed
many
to do
things
with
could
my
be going on.
hands?
Right.
I'm
Come
like, what
back.
am I doing? Like, there's so many things I should be doing. So I have a hard time like relaxing and turning my brain off. And after 5 years, I can successfully say I don't think I've ever made it through a movie, but I can make it through a TV show or two without
That's
doing
good.
something.
That's
Yeah.
good. And
So I think just being self-aware and knowing that
right.
like if you are a full send person, if you are a very passionate person, recognizing that when you are getting into those states and like being like having those conversations with your partner, be like, listen, I totally get it. Like I tell her, I'm like, listen, I know that I'm not as available to you as I should be right now, but
Right.
this is why. And just having that conversation allows your partner to see like, oh, this isn't something I'm doing. It's not that she loves me any less. It's that she's in her let's fucking go mode. Sorry,
Right.
let's go mode.
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
okay. And
yeah.
for me, I learned to compartmentalize. And I'm a planner. And what I wasn't doing was planning things. And it's been some years since I made the shift, and I'm constantly watching myself. But I literally put on my calendar every amount of time we're going to lunch. I'm planning things in advance. And that also makes me, when I'm doing my work time, that I'm doing that work thing, because I know this
Yep,
weekend we're going to be gone for 3 days and I'm not touching anything. I'm not doing any work
yep.
unless it's an emergency. And when I didn't do that,
Yes.
every little space would just get filled. And yeah, people are going to be resentful. It's like everything is more important than me. But when they see
Oh yeah.
this is your time, you got me 200%, and answer the
Yep.
calls and the texts, and just not ignoring people. And I had to learn all of that. It was like, yeah, I
Yes.
call them back, but you don't want to be treated like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Oh,
So
totally.
Cool. Cause we're
Yeah.
helping you out with
Yeah.
everything. Okay. Your self-love, your booty bus, your photography. We're talking about relationships. Come on now. Come on now. Give us some thumbs up and some likes and some comments. Cause this is good stuff right here. I don't know what you thought was gonna happen, but this is full spectrum living your best life right here. Let's jump back on your bus. So to be clear, I've been rambling, haven't been as structured as I could be, but you know what? I don't care. Do what I want. And so you, commercial photographer, amazing background, and decided to pursue your passion and start your own business and pay as you go, which is wonderful and amazing. Keep doing it. I don't care what people say. They can say what they want to. But you mentioned about working on the bus and how hard it was. Did you have any help? Are you a mechanic too?
Yeah.
In addition to saxophone and photography? Oh my goodness, what don't you do?
I would love it if I could be a mechanic. So I did have some help. I had a friend, Elizabeth, helped me build out in Alexandria. She was a huge help. So a lot of the stuff that I did, the bus was already about 70% built out when I bought it. Hated the build. So ripped everything they did out. Everything. Just took it and was like, no. So then started with the blank slate. I left in was the floor. So I left in the floor and was like, okay, now let's go. And I repurposed a lot of my furniture. So like I used to have like a platform bed in my apartment. I took apart the platform bed and those are now my shelves in the bus.
Oh, smart. Wow.
Yeah. And then my bed in the back is actually an IKEA bed that we cut down to fit into that space.
How big is this bus? It's literally like a school bus. You're not. I'm thinking minivan. When you say bus, it's a bus.
Hold on. Let me just pull up a picture real quick while I've got you here, and I'll show you. But I'll send you some photos.
Okay. Well,
she's a big girl.
Show notes when we post this, because I don't know why in my head I was kind of thinking you were in Oh yeah, that's a bus.
She's 30 feet.
That's a bus.
She's 30 feet.
Y'all, is white. She's got some graphics on the side. She's showing me.
It actually says, so on the side it says, honk if you love yourself on the one side. And then on the other side it says, expose, empower, liberate, and love, which is my slogan.
Okay.
And then on the back, which is my favorite, I've had on every car I've owned for like the past 10 years. It says, I hope something good happens to you today on the back of my bus.
Okay. And
that's mostly.
I like that double meaning. I like that double meaning of expose on your slogan.
Yes, right.
And the revelation. I got that. Yeah, very nice. And it sounds like, you know what, that not only are you amazing, you got some wonderful skill sets that you're using to help others, but you've got some good supportive people in your life. You've got love in your life.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
This is a good time post-COVID for you, for me as well. Some really good things are happening, but I just there's so many sad stories. There are so many people hurting and suffering. So it's really nice to hear.
Yeah, I've met some really incredible people on the road too. And in a few months, I'm actually going to have a whole series of podcasts coming. Not series. It's going to be on one podcast, but it's a whole series about the bus. And I'm going to be sharing a lot of stories about some of the people I met. Like one of the stories is this guy. Yeah. So this guy rolled in on his lawnmower to a gas station I was at. And over the next 2 weeks, I came down to his house and he helped me put solar on. Literally went to this stranger's house. But I think that it's important. I think stranger danger is important. However, there are really good, genuine, authentic people. And I think if you trust your gut and you listen to that and you're safe and smart about it, I've met some really unbelievable people. And it's really made me realize humans are, I really do feel like humans are good. I feel like people primarily share the negative on social media because it gets more likes, it gets more shares. Whenever it comes to the positive stuff, I feel like it kind of gets pushed down and you don't hear about it as much. So I am hoping that talking about this and sharing some of the stories that I've had with people on the road and just how unbelievable, I personally have found that most humans just want to help other humans. That's been my personal experience. And I've had a few that aren't, but like an overwhelmingly majority has been just awesome, awesome people.
Yeah, and so keep trusting and keep being open, and the narcissists, the judgmental, the negative people are there. They will always be there, but they don't have to be part of your life, and certainly not a reason to close yourself off. Just be open to the possibilities. And I live like that as well, and it's hard because I've been hurt. I've had some really horrible things done to me, and my natural inclination is I'm just not fooling with anybody anymore.
Yeah.
My natural response, but my inclination, who I am, is let's just go another way. Let's just keep meeting people, and don't forget all these wonderful people in your life, because one really nasty person or experience can just make you paint everybody with that same brush. And there are really a lot of great, great people.
There are, yeah.
Is there anything else you want to share about what you're doing, what you want to do? Because this is fascinating. I'm loving this interview.
Thank you.
This conversation. This isn't even an interview. This is a conversation with my new friend, Sarah Marcella.
I think the only thing I'd like to share is that in 2 weeks, I'm starting my cross-country tour. And I believe I've got about 12 to 15 different cities that I'm hitting. So I'm like Cleveland, Ohio, Flint, Michigan, Milwaukee, Indiana, Dunes, Denver, Omaha, Nebraska, Salt Lake City, Portland, Seattle, Bend, Oregon, San Jose. So I've got this whole, I've got it on my website. So is it cool if I share that?
We'll do that. And I also want to say this is evergreen. So, it'll be archived with the podcast. So we're July 9th, 2022. If you're hearing this at some time later, Sarah may be in Athens or Australia, but we'll have her website in the show notes as well, so that people can keep up with you, since it's not live,
of course.
I don't want to hear that. So I don't want somebody disappointed waiting for you somewhere.
Hey, I'm going to be doing this for a while. I'm going to be doing this for as long as I can financially support myself and physically do it, because it definitely is a little physically taxing living in a school bus. So as long as I can, I will be making trips around the country. So
already. And if you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, please let me know, because I'd love to connect with you in person. Give them that. I would love that. Give them that website, social media, whatever you want to share. And then I'll have one final question for you before we go.
Okay, so if you are interested in booking or just reading more about my mission, you can do so on my website. It is www.boudiebus.com. So the BOUDIE.com. That's my website. And then if you'd like to see my portfolio or hit me up on social media, I am Big Boudie Bus. So big BOUDIE, Boudie like boudoir, bus on Instagram.
Got it. On IG. Final question. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
I love that reaction.
This has never happened to me. Wow. Okay. Positive, exuberant, and motivated.
Sweet. Thank you, Sarah.
That's me. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much.
And wasn't that a great program? Oh, love that episode. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Learn more about me on my website, drmoanderson.com. That's MOE. You can read book excerpts, watch videos, learn about my services that I offer, and book me for a speaking engagement. I'd love to talk with your group, and I'd love to work with you. So until the next time, review, renew, and re-you. Thank you.